Remember that time when you were so sure that he was the one, that you gave him everything? Your heart, your time, and your efforts. But when you finally asked him, "What are we?" he pulled away. Yeah, no, I couldn't relate because I spent 6 years as an escort and I learned something most women never figure out. Men don't ghost you because you're not enough. They ghost you because you're making commitment feel like a trap instead of something desirable. I once had a client who spent $182,000 on me over 6 years. My rates went from $255 an hour to $2,000 an hour, but he stayed despite that. So today I'm breaking down 4 mistakes that make him ghost you and choose someone else. Stick around until the last one because this is the biggest one that separates his dream girl from his one-night stand. A few years ago, I almost lost a client who was willing to spend $1,000 an hour just to be with me, all because I was going to make this one mistake. I was on a tour and I got a text from this guy that just said, "Hey babe." I used to get a lot of time wasters back then, so I almost ignored that text. But I really needed the work that trip, so I responded anyway. And to my surprise, he turned out to be a genuine client who paid a deposit and the booking went perfectly. But towards the end, I saw his phone and I noticed that he had sent the exact same "Hey babe" text to 5 other escorts. When I asked him why, he simply said that 90% of the time, escorts don't even reply. I used to write long, thoughtful messages explaining exactly what I was looking for. I'd be polite, detailed, and respectful, and they'd ghost me anyway. So now I just send "Hey babe" to see who even bothers to respond. If they do, I know they're actually available and take their work seriously. Then I move forward from there. Now that hit me hard because what I thought was maintaining standards was actually just making me look unavailable and uninterested. And that is exactly what you're doing when you play hard to get. You think you're communicating, "I'm high value, so you need to work for me." But what you're actually communicating is, "You're not a priority to me." And men don't commit to women who make them feel like an option. That is why when a high value man shows up, treat his time like it matters. This doesn't mean be desperate. It means respond promptly, show up when you say you will, and don't cancel unless it's truly necessary. Because when he feels like a priority, not an option, commitment becomes natural. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it, I need to treat his time like it matters, but what if I do that and he's just using me and seeing other girls? What if he just wants sex? And that's exactly the second mistake most women make. They treat every action as a red flag. He just wants sex, he's probably seeing other women, he's not serious. They're constantly looking for proof that they're going to be hurt. They operate from fear and scarcity, not trust. And this creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, remember Louis, the Prince of Monaco from Gossip Girl? He was so obsessed with the idea that Blair was manipulative and still in love with Chuck that he treated everything she did like proof of betrayal. She'd defend herself, red flag. She tried to reassure him, red flag. She'd spend time with friends, red flag. His constant suspicion didn't protect him. It created exactly what he feared. Because when you treat someone like they're already guilty, they will stop trying to prove their innocence. And eventually, Blair did go back to Chuck. That is what happens when you operate from fear instead of trust. You create a self-fulfilling prophecy. You think you're protecting yourself from getting hurt, but what you're actually doing is pushing away good men who would have chosen you. Men don't commit to women who make them feel tested. They commit to women who make them feel trusted. I mean, you wouldn't commit to someone who suspects you all the time either, right? So give him the benefit of the doubt. Stop interrogating his actions and start creating space for him to show up. When you assume the best instead of expecting the worst, commitment stops feeling like a trap and it starts feeling like a treasure. Which brings me to the third point. Have you ever met someone at a networking event who's clearly only talking to you because they want something? They're not listening to what you're saying. They're scanning the room for someone more important. They're asking surface level questions while mentally calculating how you can help their career. You can feel it, right? That they don't actually care about you. They care about what you can do for them. And the second you realize that's what's happening, you pull away because nobody wants to feel used. That's exactly how men feel when you're obsessed with when will he commit. Most women treat dating like a transaction. Every date feels like an interrogation. Where is this going? What are we? They're not present. They're not enjoying the moment. They're just checking for commitment milestones. They're optimizing for the outcome, the title, the label, the relationship status, instead of the experience. And men can feel that. They can tell you don't actually care about being with them, you just care about locking them down. That desperation for the title is exactly what's pushing him away. Because men don't commit because you demand it. They commit because being with you feels too good to lose. When you stop pressuring and you start being irreplaceable, commitment becomes natural. So stop asking, when will he commit? And start asking, am I someone that he'd be terrified to lose? This brings me to the last point and also the most important one. Some of you have got to cut going with the flow. The thought of seeing what happens out of your life, and here's why. Most of the time, when I see women trying to be the cool girl who doesn't want to seem demanding or high maintenance, it's because they're more afraid of being alone than they are of wasting years on someone who will never choose them. They think that being open and flexible makes them more attractive to men. So they say things like, at least he likes me, or I don't want to put pressure on it. They think this makes them easy to be with, but what it actually does is make you accept whatever shows up, even when it's not what you want. There is a reason why Samantha from Sex and the City got exactly what she wanted, while Carrie got her heart broken every season. Samantha knew exactly what she wanted. Great sex with no strings attached. She never settled for less. She never convinced herself maybe this time it'll be different. But Carrie, she didn't know what she wanted. She'd chase big, then she'd date Aiden, then she'd be back to big, then someone else. She was just reacting to whoever showed up with the right words at the right time. And because she had no clear vision, she wasted years in relationships that left her crying on her apartment floor. Most women are exactly like Carrie. They don't have a clear vision of what they actually want because they don't want to seem like they're too much. That is why they tolerate inconsistent efforts from their partners and I'm not ready excuses. They think at least it's something instead of this isn't what I want. And without knowing exactly what you're building toward, you stay stuck. You waste your time and energy on men who will never choose you. You accept whatever shows up. A guy once offered me $10,000 a month to be his girlfriend. I started thinking about what that could mean. New wardrobe, weekend getaways, financial breathing room. But then came the terms. I had to be exclusive, which means I could only be with just him, nobody else in the picture. No other clients, no other dates, nothing. My entire world would revolve around one person. And to top it off, he had recently sold his company for 8 figures. That's when this offer started looking different. 10 grand a month from someone sitting on tens of millions. Suddenly it felt less like an opportunity and more like an insult. And that's when I realized, when you know your worth and know what you're building, you can spot a bad deal immediately. And saying yes to this offer, becoming exclusive to one man for less than my worth, that might have been the worst deal of all. Having clear standards makes it impossible to settle, because when you know exactly what you're building, you stop entertaining men who can't give you that. You recognize misalignment in weeks, not years. You stop convincing yourself maybe he'll change. Your why gives you the strength to walk away from easy attention that does not serve you. Most women don't have that, so they stay. They settle. They waste years hoping he'll become the man they need. But you don't have to do that. Luckily for you, I made a resource I wished I had when I was just starting out. I would have given anything for someone to teach me what I just shared with you, but I had to figure it all out the hard way. So if you want to learn more about how to attract high-paying clients, tap the link on the screen or go to isabellefox.co. You'll hear from other escorts who were once struggling, but now have luxury experiences with men who respect them and happily pay their rates. Plus, you'll get access to even more exclusive insider training you can start implementing today for free.